Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is a Theta video, so it's going to be a good one. Let's see what is going on with Theta. Right now, the price is at about $3, $2.96. We are starting to level out here on the 4-hour chart. So basically, a little review here. Let's get right into it with a few ideas. So basically, the idea that we've had since back over here is basically saying this is an A. We have 3 up for B. So A, B, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be wave C, and this would be a flat. The question is that what's happening? Well, so far, it's not invalid, right? Unless it breaks this low, then we'll have to look at it differently. And there's an idea for that as well. But so far, this flat is valid because we have a 1, 2, and now we have another 1, 2. But I don't like the 1, 2, 1, 2 because the problem with that is you have this second wave overlapping into the price area of wave 1. Now, if it's a diagonal, then that's okay. So basically, what you would see with a diagonal is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Some type of diagonal like that. And then following that, either two things can happen. The first thing can be so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would get an A, B, C correction. Maybe not that big, something like this. Then continue breaking out. And that would fall under the category of a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. So that is yet to be seen. We'll see if that is the idea that plays. This is a very challenging point in this here, because if this is a wave 4, usually they're very complex, right? Very challenging to figure out what's going on in these corrections. So especially when you have a top, right, which is pretty easy to say that we're going down. So then you go down, and then you get 5 waves, and it's like, okay, now we're probably going back up. But then once you get into the middle, it's all about the retracement level. What happens there? Because people do take profits, right, in their retracement levels. You can see the price of Theta getting almost to the 618, and now it's resting around that 382. So, there's a lot of kinks that need to be worked out. So it's yet to be seen. Do your best to figure it out. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, are you a long-term investor? Are you a hodler or a short-term trader? If you are, then you trade the volatility. If not, then you don't mind what's taking place, right? And at the end of the day, it's if most people, I would suspect, are hodlers, investors, which means if we're in a correction, that's the time to what? Buy the dip, accumulate. Not financial advice, but that's normally the time people start to reaccumulate. Now that doesn't mean we can't go lower. We can, and we'll talk about that too. But yeah, so far I'm kind of liking this as a diagonal, and this move up, this engulfing candle up, and then you have this sort of correction to the downside. Kind of looks like it's flagging out a bit, just like how this one was flagging out. So usually when you get these parallel channels to the downside, if they're descending, they usually break out, right? If they're ascending, like let's see if we can find one here. So you can see right here, we have this sort of ascending channel, right? And usually when you get these ascending channels, they like to break to the downside, and the same with descending, they like to break to the upside. So it's contrary, right? It's different. Now there is some instances where you get breaks to the upside. Like look at this. This was kind of a channel, and you broke to the upside. But when that happens, it's usually an overthrow, right? And then what was the net result? It came back down, right? So it makes you believe, hey, we're breaking out, let's go. But it basically was a liquidity trap for the downside, and that was another reason this looked corrective to me. And I've been saying since early March, the price looks like it definitely needs a correction at some point. And when you had this big drop and then this correctiveness back that took out the top, it had the workings of a flat. So now I think sort of that big chunk is over with. So now the question becomes, what happens here in the middle of this range here? So if I just do this and put a line at the bottom of the range to the top of the range, or about the top here, you could see we are smacked in the middle. And yeah, so we're basically ranging, trying to get this correction over with. So now that'll lead me to my next idea. But just to summarize real quick, let's go to the smaller time frame here. I'm liking this move that we're seeing right here. You got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you got this again, this descending channel. And I'd be curious to see if we can break above this downward resistance line right here, and see if we can get that. As far as the short-term analysis on this wave, looks like we have a 1, 2, and then we have all of this is 3, and then maybe a 4 and a 5. So it looks almost complete. Now this could be 4, and we can still get one more fifth, but as of now it looks pretty good. You can start to see, we're building some type of bottoming, right? So we went up pretty impulsively, we went down pretty correctively, and at the bottom of the wave we can start to see this ranging in here, which could be a good indicator for a reversal back to the upside. Now, if we do get that, then we would have to get through the retracement level of this move that we came down here. So we would really want to get above this zone. So between $3 and $3.09 to $3.15 would really be the target to get above that. If we fail to get above it, then we come back down. And yeah, again, the market's in 5s and 3s, so the corrections can be very, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, and things like that. So for example, in the short time, if we come up, we get through the retracement, we get rejected, we come back down, and that would be a 1, 2, 3, and then we would have then another chance to get back above it. And if not, we come up, we retrace this wave. If we get rejected again, we come back down, and then that would be a diagonal in itself. I mean, there's really a lot of possibilities for corrections, and that's why they're challenging. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So instead of going through all the different ideas, I'm just gonna stick to the basic ones on the higher time frames. But for now, it looks like this thing either hits the low one more time, or this was the low. I do, if you look here, I do like this wick. You can see, we had support, but this wick sliced right through the support, and it got bought up real quickly, which told me it tapped into that liquidity, and now it can start to start to curl up. And you can see, and if you look closely, look at this. It looks like potentially on the 15-minute chart. It's really, you don't really want to do Wyckoff on the smaller time frames, but you can kind of see this move here, right? We came down, we took out the low, we come back out, we didn't take out the high, then we come back down, right? And we start to curl out. So if the price does this, I would look for it to break above this resistance here at about $3 and then sort of play around a little bit and then continue on. That would be a nice Wyckoff structure that I would look for. Again, if not, then I would look for another wave to the downside. And it would be sort of an ending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'd be an ending diagonal to the downside. And then this whole thing would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then all of this would be 5. And then we can start to look for that retracement. And then once we get the retracement, we can see if we can break through the retracement. So, it's many steps you got to go through on the smaller time frame. Again, on the bigger time frame, like let's go to the weekly. Theta is one of those coins that really got away from its range, right? So we broke out of this Wyckoff accumulation range and we're pretty extended above it. So there's always that chance that you can come all the way back down and back test the breakout level. Not saying that's what has to happen, but that's always a chance. And if that did happen, then you could set this up for a 1-2-1-2, which would be incredibly bullish. But if not, then this is some type of third wave, and we're flagging out, right, for that next wave to the upside. So it is yet to be determined, right? And it really depends what Bitcoin wants to do as well. And then we also have the bull market support band down here. So if you're a long-term Theta bull, look at it this way. Theta has plenty of wiggle room for corrections in here. Plenty. If you look at the Fibonacci retracement from the bottom to the top, a 50% retracement or a 618 retracement, it almost got to it. So I would say between $2 and $2.34. So I kind of don't want it to come down and back test, but I also want it to retest the bull market support band just to make it, healthier. And to me, if the price, has sort of this, like what we talked about, a descending channel, right? We flag out. Most of the time that breaks to the upside. So if that's the case, then we can sort of make our way down into this 50% 618 retrace. And then when that happens, the bull market support band at that point would have caught up to the price, which would be sort of a really good situation, because then this whole move can get verified by a retest of the bull market support band. Because look how many times we tested it down here. We had this beautiful rally, right? So if this rally can continue going, but if it really wants that double confirmation, that confidence, then it comes back down, it tests it again so that you can get that new wave to the upside. Now, again, I don't know if that's going to happen. There's so many different types of corrections that can occur. And looking at the weekly chart, we're getting these dojis up here. So it still looks like, very corrective. And so let's zoom in But before I do that, when you look at Theta Fuel, for example, it's already back testing the top, right? Which makes me believe probably Theta won't have to come all the way down there, because if you think about it, if Theta had to come all the way back down to back test the range, then that would mean Theta Fuel would have to go back beneath the range. And if that happened, there's a risk of it being retesting this support as resistance, right? But then again, you also have the bull market support band down here to be held or supported by it. So for now, I mean, really long story short, we look at it like this schematic 2 of Wyckoff accumulation. And essentially, we're basically at phase D, right? So you have this in phase A, this down in phase B, come back up, come all the way down and make this sort of rounded bottom. Same thing right in here into phase C, right? Then you break out, which we did, which is exactly what's happening on this example here. So, once this thing gets worked out in here, that's when we sort of get this acceleration or continuation. So, when looking at this yellow range, it would look something like that, which if you take it all off, something like that, right? So, yeah, it's all about holding support, working out this correction, and continuing to head up. Now, my goal here is to inform before that happens. But I need more information, and until that time, we just got to, continue to treat it as a correction, right? So when you look at Theta Fuel, it actually looks more bullish than Theta itself. Why? Well, one, because it has more percentage potential. Why? Because it's still closer to the bull market support band. It barely broke above its Wyckoff structure, right? And then also, if you look at the retracement level, you can see the price of Theta getting a 618 retracement, and it went above it a little bit. So whereas the price of Theta didn't even hit the 618. So you had Theta Fuel getting above it, and Theta itself. Now, to Theta's credit, Theta went a lot higher than Theta Fuel, right? I mean, look how much more extended Theta is versus Theta Fuel. Now, Theta Fuel's down over here, right? Theta itself is obviously up there. So, so far, recap real quick, and then we'll get on to the next scenario. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways go, or this is the shape of a diagonal with a three-way pullback and then a continuation. If not, then we have an A wave. We have 1, 2, 3 for wave B. And now C can come down here and go. It could be like a flat C. Or this is a 1, 2. We get 3, 4, and 5. Which would be a three-wave move, right? It would be A, B, and C. So A, B, C, something like that. And when you zoom out, it looks like a standard, healthy, normal correction. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that's what happened. And then also, if that happened, you would have the bull market support band meeting up potentially with wave C, depending how deep it goes. And then, you develop a little base up here, just kind of how you did down here. You can see the price test it. The price likes the bull market support band. It likes to test it, hold it, right? So it's good for the price. It's healthy. So if we do that and we stick around here a little bit, then we can continue higher. So those are the sort of the two main ideas that I have. Now, if I had to guess which one it would be, man, it's really tough to say because some charts look like, you know, they're pretty bullish to go, and then others look more like they need this correction here. Now, Theta is one of those charts that went from the bottom of from the bottom here all the way up about 330%. So that was a pretty substantial rally. So to get a three-wave pullback in an ABC, it would be, normal and even possibly likely. So, but we don't have to get there. We still have plenty. We don't have to know the answer right now, because it's going to let us know before that. But right now, like I said, we're in the middle of that range. So once we get more information, like if, for example, if we start breaking this low here, then we can start to look more closely at it, and especially coming down to challenge this low. So, you have an A, B, C, and a flat, and you have this diagonal A, B, C, pullback, continue higher. Or this is an A, this is a B, this is a C. Or this is an A, this is a B, and then we have a flat C. We come down here, make like a little flat C here. Basically just ranging before breaking out. So those are the ideas for us. Now, really, again, depends on Bitcoin. Now, what's interesting about Bitcoin is this. You see that black line right there at 69K? What we want for Bitcoin to do is to close above that line on Sunday, the weekly close. So if I put the weekly close on, if Bitcoin closes above 69K, it would be the highest weekly close in Bitcoin's history. Bitcoin has never had a weekly close above 70K, let alone 69K. So if I take that black line and I put it at the prior all-time high, that's where it is. So what we want, so Bitcoin already had the highest weekly close ever, which is closing above 65.5. But now we want it to close above the ultimate high, which is this wick here at 69K. Right? Which also coincides with the previous weekly close. So we have a bullish engulfing candle going above the black line, above the close, engulfing these two indecision candles, right? The only issue I would say is this wick right here, right? I wish it wasn't so high, because it maybe, on the contrary, you could say that this is just, here's your down move, right? And the price is just retracing a lot of that wick before more down. I mean, that could happen. And if that did happen, then we can just say, well, then it's an ABC, right? So same thing, same exact thing with Theta. A, B, C. Now, I don't like how you're getting, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 candles in a row, and it can't seem to continue, right? So the longer it waits, the more likely it is will break down. So you could see, this wick here, this wick here, this wick here, this, and then now this candle here. Now, granted, this candle is the best looking one so far. So let's see if we can get today's candle, which time of recording this video ends in about 2 hours and 15 minutes. We want this candle to definitely close above these daily closes. That would be a good thing to see. Then we could probably get some follow through. Now, on the contrary to that, we are coming into the weekend soon, so it's really up in the air. So, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm macro bullish. Short term, I still think we got some work to do. But, you know, that's the crypto. That's what, you know, you get 300%, you get gifted a 300% move, and at some point you got to pay for that. And we don't pay for it through money. Some of us, I mean, you do if you don't take your unrealized gains, but most people pay for it through time, right? So, hey, if you get a 300% move, it's going to cost you 2 months of time of just going sideways, right? I mean, I guess that's a good way to say it. Now, the cool thing about Bitcoin is it's very close to its last retracement level. So look at this. We're almost above that 786. If we can get a daily close, if this candle can close above, let me make sure it's pretty well on the dot here. So if the candle can close above 71K, basically above this line right there, that would be nice to see. Maybe not today's candle, maybe tomorrow, but regardless, or even better yet, the weekly candle, we want to close above that 786. So there you go. That's the update here for Bitcoin. I mean, again, we do have a candle that's in 3 days could potentially close above these candles, which would be a great thing to see. So yeah. As far as Theta Fuel goes, I mean, the weekly candle, I do like the previous week. I mean, that looks like a bullish hammer candle. It came down pretty deep. It got bought right back up, which is nice to see. Zooming in, you know, we're at that retracement level, and we got rejected. So it could play around in here a little bit. And that's really the you know, the decider of where it's going to go in the short term. So now when I zoom in really small on the 30-minute chart on this current wave here, it looks actually pretty good, right? So what I would look for is you have a wave 1, you have a wave 2, you have a wave 3, you have a wave 4. We really want to see a wave 5. If we can get that wave 5, then you kind of figure that, okay, it's probably we don't have to have that C leg like an A, B, C, because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it was 1, 2, 3, and we come up and we retrace the move, then it would probably look like to the down. So we're right at a crossroads right now. So we really want to see that fifth wave come in if we want it to continue, you know, as far as time goes. But if we get this fifth wave, then I would look for an A, B, C pullback, and then a continue higher. So, or even, you know, if this is a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, even a kind of like you know, your rise, your crash, your retrace, and then you're going sideways basically before you're going up. So interesting times we're in. What do you guys think? What do you think we're at right now? Let me know in the comments. And by the way, if you want to know more about T-drop, it's the same thing with T-drop. We're in the middle of that retracement. Let's see what we get. What I did want to point out, this is XRP, by the way. Interesting fractal here. This would be really good for Theta as well, because if it's kind of telling the bullish story, then yeah, it looks like an interesting fractal there. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. If you want, you can always support the channel. I got a tip jar here, and consider dropping a like and a comment if you want me to check out any coins on the next rapid fire video, and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you won't miss anything. So yeah. that'll do it for this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.